Namaskar and good afternoon to everyone. I welcome you all to another Educational Connect session, which is live stream on YouTube, dedicated to all things education. Today, we are quite honored to have a very special guest with us, Ms. Gayatri Nair. She's an esteemed image consultant and a soft skill trainer. I would like to welcome ma'am.
Thank you so much, Divya.
To add on, I would like to mention Ms. Gayatri brings a wealth of knowledge to us. She's an educationist and has been a trainer in the corporate with the NIIT, a principal, a psychologist, and now a research scholar in the field of life skills. With over 13 years of experience in educational arena, she has been helping people to develop their communication etiquettes, personal development, and grooming, and even helping them to create their image in their personal, professional, and social front. So, today, in the session Time Management Hack for Teenagers, ma'am will be dealing on the importance of effective time management, providing practical tips and strategies to help, especially the teenagers, to optimize their schedules, prioritize tasks, and even maintain a healthy balance. Because all the more, it's very difficult to manage your academics, extracurricular, and personal commitments. So get ready to get into the valuable insights that ma'am will be sharing with us. Without further ado, let's give a warm and hearty welcome to Gayatri ma'am to embark on this journey of mastering time management for teenagers. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Divya, for giving me this opportunity to be there on Education Connect. And I feel honored, and this is the platform wherein I can interact with more teenagers and parents who are there whom I have never met and have not had interactions. So I can impart my knowledge in this particular stream and give them more insight about how a time can be handled and how they can reach their success.
Sure,
So
ma'am. We are really looking forward to this session actually. And especially
thank
the
you.
students. I have actually receiving a lot of comments on this one that they're really looking forward how to manage time. So, ma'am, please, your inputs on this one.
So, as we all know, time and tide waits for no man, right? Time is money, time is success. So, in our entire journey, we will be learning how to do it, what are the nuances for it, how we can enhance our time management, and all those details. So, we will be presenting these highlight. These are the highlights of the day. So, these are the things that we'll be covering up entire workshop of ours today.
Ma'am, as I can see, like there are certain misconceptions associated with time management, and as very well you have quoted the first one itself, myths about time management. So, what is your take on it? Because students are really associated with a lot of things that are going on in their heads, and they have their own misconceptions. So, I would really like, I'm really curious to know about what are the myths that have been associated with time management.
What happens, Divya, actually, when time management myths, when we I talk about, there are a lot of things. Children, they feel that I am in a school, I know how the management of time is happening, so I will be able to manage my time very perfectly. Some feel that time management is going to take away my fun, and some they feel that I work more better in a pressure rather than I don't require when the deadline is there,
Correct.
that's it. But actually they don't understand what is the internal damage that they are creating when they are doing it under pressure. So managing time will actually take out their stress, that which we will be seeing in further. And they even feel that if I start managing time, so that means my I will not have enough time, like I will not enjoy my life. So that's not like that. You will have more hours to enjoy rather than more hours, rather than you not knowing that how things are going to work. So that is the best part of it. So people, students, they don't understand. And when I'll actually show how our 24 hours are there, you will be surprised that how much time you actually have, and you can do so much in life.
True, very true, ma'am. I really agree on this point.
So there are numerous distractions also. Okay. So what are those distractions? Like you have friends, you have roommates, if you're in college, hostels, you have neighbors coming in, you have television, you have leisure time. So a lot of so much of distractions are there that you at times don't understand, you know. And later on, once these because of these distractions, when you sit back, you say, "Oh, I wasted my time." So these are we need to avoid these distractions.
Correct. So, ma'am, what do you want to be highlighting here? Like, how is time management important to us? We know there are certain distractions. Each one of us knows what are the set of distractions that we've been having. But how is time management important to me? Why do you think so? It's important.
Yeah. That's a good, valid question, Divya. It's basically when time you manage your time, you actually increase your productivity. You reduce your stress. Even your self-esteem, your confidence is increased. Okay, you reach your goal without you actually knowing, without you under pressure. So that's the best part. And in the following entire 1 hour program of ours today, entire webinar, we are going to learn all these things, how to do it, how from the scratch to the end. And this journey of today will actually help you out to understand how managing time will help you achieve a balanced life.
So, ma'am, even if we are talking about time management helping to balance our life and reducing stress, today the children, especially the teenagers, are actually going under a lot of pressure. It can be parental pressure, it can be basically from the friends. They've not been able to maintain the peer pressure. So, what exactly are the ways in which we can do it? Because we already know that there are ways in which it is going. Time management is going to streamline our life. But are there certain strategies that we can be adopting, or certain ways that you can highlight on? Because the students are really looking forward to this question: that how do I do it?
Exactly. See, when we are doing it, we need to prioritize our task. We need to organize ourselves. We have to overcome the procrastination. We should stop procrastinating and stop being perfectionist. What happens is, like, when you try to be a perfect, you try to perfect a particular task, sometimes it happens that doesn't require that much of time. Okay. So you can just overlook that perfectionism of yours at that time and continue further walking towards your goal. Then you should be avoiding to taking too much on your shoulders. So what happens is, like, I should be able to set my data or my whatever work I have to do on my shoulder, the amount I can attain it. For example, if I am a 5 year old child, I cannot take, more than maybe a 3 to 4 kg of something on my shoulder. I cannot plan for taking a 10 kg on my shoulder, which is going to hunch my back. So accordingly, even, physically hunching doesn't happen, but mental hunching happens when you take overload yourself.
Right. So, ma'am, if we are talking about strategizing, what are the tips that you can add on so they can basically streamline their tasks? So, in a way that I know that I need to be managing my time and there are certain disruptions that have been coming over, but I need to strategize it. I still need some kind of a guidance in terms of how do I strategize it. So, can you share some tips with us?
Sure. So what happens? We all know that we have 24 hours in hand, right? So when we have 24 hours in hand, we are in classes, we are studying, we are sleeping, we are spending our time for fitness, eating, watching movie, TV, all these entertainments. Now, when I say in those 24 hours, 7 to 8 hours is very important for students and elders, everybody to sleep. Because the more we give brain to rest, the brain works very faster. Because being a psychologist, also, I understand this because we have gone through all these case studies. And 8 hours of sleep, rest, what is left? 8 hours of schooling hours. So you are in the school for next 8 hours. That means from 24 hours, you have actually taken away your 16 hours, right? So in those 16 hours, how many hours are left? You're actually left with 8 hours, right? 8 to 9 hours. So then what happens is, so many hours you have. Have you ever thought about it? The number of hours you have even after sleeping and going to school? You have so many hours left. So when you have so many hours left, what you have to do is you just have to bifurcate. You just have to divide your number of hours into small chunks. So now I am saying that I have 8 hours in hand. So what I'll do is, I'll 2 hours I will do my a particular study, or like half an hour I will come from school, change myself, have my meal, and then I'll sit back for studying. Or maybe I want to relax. So let's take 1 hour, I do everything, have my meal, relax, and everything. Then I chunk the rest number of hours into the program. Small, small chunks I make. Okay, now I have to study. Now I have to make, maybe a project which has a submission deadline date. And accordingly, the way it is there, whatever program I have for my entire day, I want to read a book. I'll plan for reading a book, and then accordingly I'll decide what all activities I want to perform in those many hours of mine. So when you come to know that you have so many hours, it's like, you are so happy and you are able to divide the number of hours perfectly. And in a week, you have 168 hours. Have you ever thought about it? I'm sure none of you might have thought about it. So we have had a educator, Mr. Stephen Covey. He had come with time management grid. Okay, so prioritization grid, which he has come, wherein he says that urgent, important. Okay, if it's urgent, it is important. It is your first quadrant. Then you have something called which is non-urgent, but it is important. That comes as your second grid. Then it comes, it is urgent, but it is not very important. That comes as your third grade. Then it comes not urgent and neither is important. Okay, that's your fourth grade, which you can actually plan. And even if you don't do it, it will be not harming anybody, neither you or nor others. So, for example, let's take you have a presentation tomorrow, okay, or you have a project submission tomorrow, or you have a maths homework or an English homework which has to assignment that has to be submitted tomorrow. So now, what will you do? What is your prioritization? You're prioritizing your entire day activity after coming back from school or after coming back from college or after coming from work. You are prioritizing, okay, tomorrow this is a submission, I have a deadline. So that comes in your first grade, which is urgent and which is important. Okay. Then you have, maybe you have a homework or maybe you have a test which is going after 2 days. 2 days down the line, you have a test. So that comes, it is not urgent for today, but it is urgent on that particular day, right? So it is not urgent today, but it is important. I have to study. So you make a plan. What do you do is you chunk your chapters. You have two chapters. You say, okay, fine. Today I have finished one chapter so that I'm not overloaded tomorrow. I finish the second chapter, revise, and I'm ready to go. That is when we say it's not urgent, but it is important. Now it comes urgent, but it is not important. So for in your work area, it is like for your friend, you have to make a call to your friend or maybe try to find out how she is. She has not come or he has not come to school today or college today or to your workplace today. So what is the problem? Like what happened? You just want to understand. So it is urgent. It is a requirement, but it is not very important if I see in my prioritizing grid my deadline was more important, my exam is more important, then comes with this. So I give a call. Accordingly, I prioritize myself, my data, what is my activity going to be. So after that, I'll give a call. Like first, I finish these two things. My third activity for the day will be calling up my friend. I'll call up and check out like why my friend was unable to help that friend about the whatever activity happened in the school and accordingly take care of it. Then it comes, now is the last. That is like today's generation, they're always on mobile, always on games. So that should be your last priority or watching reels. Okay. So yes, because all these take away your time. They are time wasters. You don't even realize how much time you have wasted. So this should be towards the end when you have finished your prioritized goals of the day. And this, then you have to relax. That is the time when you say, okay, fine, let me spend 1 or 2 hours for or 15-20 minutes for watching a reel or something. So I go ahead. So that's when it comes non-urgent and not important.
Rightly said, ma'am. I must say I'm really impressed with this grid that we have been having because we know there are a lot of tasks in front of us, but we don't know how to prioritize it. So I have a bulk of work along with me, but I am not sure that which one to prioritize first, and I get so hassled and confused. And at that times, what exactly happens? I slow down, and most of the times that happens is I'm not able to do anything. So I think it's a beautiful concept to strategize and prioritize which is the thing that it has been an utmost importance, and I need to be taking care of it first, and something that is not urgent I can keep it for the later. It's really
Right.
nice. I really like this concept. Very nicely said. So ma'am, if you're talking about the prioritization grids, you must have certain sites also or some links that students can refer to where they can test themselves, because it's quite important for understand what is my issue. Each of us has been dealing with a different variety of problems, and everybody has a different way of dealing with the work or the task that has
Right.
been in front of them.
Yeah.
Some preferably do it for a day, others take it for a week, or probably some basically just don't want to be actually been taking care of it right now. So if we have been referring to it, I need to analyze and judge myself. So can you suggest me a way in which I can try to understand myself, that what exactly are my pros and cons, which helping me or basically which is lagging my work?
Sure. See, I have a quiz that is there, and this is a particular site. So, would request participants to maybe note down this or take a screenshot of it, because this is going to help you to analyze yourself wherein is you are lagging. Is it the goals, or is it the prioritization, or is it procrastination? What are you actually lagging into? Okay, this is a very beautiful, which has somewhere around 15 questions, and these 15 questions you have to actually deal with is prompt answers. Okay, you don't have to think it a lot, because even a psychometric test, this is kind of a psychological test. What are the brain wants, what does the brain decides, what is your habit actually? Okay, so basically what happens, whatever the prompt answer comes is always the right answer. So whenever you are planning to sit and do this particular thing, it just take hardly 15-20 seconds, because it is a prompt answer. You don't have to think a lot about it. You just have to go through these questions and tick whichever you are. Is it not at all? Is it rarely? Sometimes, often, very often? Whatever, it's just a tick, 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 tick. And you one click, and all these 15 questions, like one by one, you. That's why I said it takes just 15 seconds, or 20 seconds. So don't think a lot while doing this if you want the right answer to come out. And after that, here we have the scoring for it. So what's happening is there are a few questions in among 15 questions, the 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, and 15. The marking scheme is like for not at all, it's 1, rarely it's 2, sometimes it is 3, often it is 4, and very often it's 5. But in questions like 2, 5, 10, 11, 12, it is like 5 for not at all, rarely it is 4, sometimes 3, and often it's 2, and very often is 1. So this also why I'm giving it, it's because you can analyze it yourself also. You can make a analysis of that. Okay, where am I lacking, which question is what marks I have got. Normally when we have, we are all inquisitive about being humans, that okay, what question carried what mark for me. So it's like that. So after that, a complete scoring comes. When a complete scoring comes, it says if you're ranging from 46 to 75, right? So you have some, you manage your time, but you still have some room to manage. Okay, it will tell according to the score if you're on the 46 or if you're on the 50. So you have more room to improve your time management. You are better, but you can improve. There's scope for improvement. Then if it is 31 to 45, so it says that you are good with something, but there you can improve again. There are certain areas where you can improve more, right? So, and if it is 15-30, you actually require a lot of improvement in maybe the entire, you are not a person who is actually organized. So always we all have a day to start off. You don't have to think, oh, I'm not organized, so I will not be able to do it. It's basically habit. It's we all just have to make a habit, and any habit to inculcate, imbibe in you is for 45 days. It takes 45 days to actually imbibe any kind of new habit that you are going to inculcate into yourself. And as per the questions, now when you are doing assessment yourself, like obviously the system gives you the score. Now you want to analyze where I am standing, where is the need of improvement. So your markings will help you. So you have like 6, 10, 14, 15 is for goal setting. Then you have certain questions for prioritization, certain questions for managing interruptions, certain questions for procrastination, certain questions for scheduling. So now you will understand when you total your marks that where is the graph going? Why is it procrastination? What is losing my time management, or is it goal setting that is losing my time management? So accordingly, I can actually set myself and understand and improve. And that is what this is a very beautiful quiz which I generally do with my students, and it really gives result. They actually improve day by day. We keep on changing, week by week, month by month. After our journey, then they come to know, yes, they have got into the habit of time management. It's a beautiful quiz actually.
Right, ma'am. Understanding this concept, I was just trying to comprehend this thing that when the children have been actually strategizing themselves as they have been procrastinating or they are not been prioritizing or goal setting, it's also important for us to be analyzing it. Because once I am actually doing the test, I need to be knowing also that which areas I need to be working on. And I
Right.
think I really like the concept of analyzing oneself because most of the times what we do is we do compare, and we
Correct.
always look out to the other side that how the other child or other friend of mine is actually working on, and how is he doing well and he's able to manage time. So everybody has a different caliber, everybody has a different areas and parameters to focus on, but we all judge each other on the same parameter, which
Correct.
ultimately brings a big question mark for us to be testing ourselves. We can share this link in the comment section for the students can try and test themselves. If they're willing, they can share the results with ma'am also, so ma'am can further help them, guide them in terms of managing time, and help them analyze themselves as well. So ma'am, as we have been looking at the concept of the site seeing for the particular way of managing time, could you share us some example as well, a case study or an example which in students can comprehend better, somebody who has already done a test, so the children can relate quite well with them that this is the way we can attempt this test, and this is the way that we can analyze ourselves. Could you please share, ma'am?
Yeah. Yes, because I have actually brought this case study. This is one of our students' case study. So this is how your thing will look like once you answer. So it's all bullet points wherein you click. You go to the site, you click here, and can you see the score underneath? It says your score is 58. Now this student has a score of 58, so he had to uh, enhance himself at the area of procrastination and goal setting, wherein we kept improving with him, and accordingly he was able to handle. And today that person is actually able to manage his time very well, and is happy, and is walking towards success.
So, ma'am, according to 58, can you slide back and show it to us that which parameter is he coming under?
Yeah, see, we have to calculate these questions, right? Okay, now he is coming under actually the first. It says 46 to 75. You're managing your time very effectively. See if there is anything you can tweak to make yourself better, right? So that means there is some room for improvement. There's some area, because he is not nearing 70. If he was a nearing 70, I can say yes, he's a pro. But it is not like that. That there was something lacking in him, though he was managing time very well, but there was a little bit of lack, which through improvement, through guidance, and he is on the track, and reaching his goal successfully.
And ma'am, do you think that it is important for us to be immediately answering it? Because as far as I can see, there are quite parameters. So the children will usually think a lot when they have been answering. So do you think thinking is required in this particular test?
No thinking. That's exactly what I say. It has to be prompt answers. Immediately, the moment you read and you say, no, I don't do this, I don't do that, or I do it often, you know, that kind of answer is like immediate answers is what you claim. You overthink, this test goes for a toss. Any psychometric test, any kind of psychological test, anything that tries to guide, I mean, understand your habit, all these kinds of tests have to be it has to be prompt. Like you don't have to overthink it at all. So you have to do it immediately. Whatever thinking is coming in your brain, don't stop it. We are not assessing you, we are trying to improve you. You are analyzing yourself. So we don't have to be having something fake for ourselves. So to improve, it has to be whatever comes into the mind immediately.
Correct. And ma'am, what if I have a doubt? Because most of the students think that should I be mentioning it likely, most likely, maybe, and they're always in a dilemma that should I be taking up the third one or the fourth one. So if in case there is a doubt that what the child should be doing.
See, doubt in the sense, for example, whether I procrastinate a lot, or whether I try to push up a schedule, for example, right? So that is like, I may do it sometimes, I do it, it's not often that
Hmm.
I do it. It's not my
Correct.
habitual thing. It's only sometimes or rarely that I'm doing. So it is like more, you have to put it on sometimes or rarely kind of category. And if you don't do it at all, you don't procrastinate at all, like you say, you are given a task, whether you like it or you don't like it, you do it as per the given schedule. You do it whenever it has
Correct.
to be submitted. So you immediately is often, right? So or very
Very
often.
nice.
So that is actually taking you to the positive track. So that is how we judge immediately. Okay, मैं तो ये हमेशा करता हूँ या मैं हमेशा करती हूँ. I just do it always. So I don't overthink on that. So that is how. That's why I said the answers have to come prompt, because the moment you read the question, you know, as a person, you know yourself better than anyone else. These are the
Correct.
questionnaires which is helping to make others help you where you are lacking. Just show you a mirror. That's it.
Correct. So I think it's a very important way for students. And students, you should really note down the parameters and the key. I'll be sharing up the slide once again for you people so you can note it down, the scoring key, as well as I'm sharing the link with you people so you can access to the site, quiz and identify yourself, find out under the parameters and just see where's the scope of improvement. And we are always there to help you, of course. So please look into it, which are the parameters through which you can judge yourself. And please do not compare yourselves on the same parameter as your friend. Everybody is individually different, and that is where we need to analyze, and that is why it is important for us to judge ourselves. So please do look into it. It's a very important, beautiful quiz, been streamlined just specifically for you to identify which are the areas of time management for you, right ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. So as we move ahead, so ma'am, we understand that there is a lacking and time management required, and I can assess myself and identify my areas also, to which are the key areas I need to focus myself on, because there are multiple ways in which I might be getting distracted. There might be multiple ways in which I might be lagging in a particular way, because of which I'm not able to complete my task. I'm not able to reach up to the deadlines. So, is there a way to organize these things? Because I know I have certain parameters to because of which I am lagging in my work, but I need to work on to reach up my goal. So how do I
Correct.
reach up my goal? How do I organize myself that I can actually fetch myself, push myself to actually organize myself to reach that goal? So could you share
Yeah.
some highlights on that and that one as well?
Sure, Divya. Here are the highlights. When you are making a goal, it has to be a realistic goal. From the start itself, I said that it is a goal. You should not overdo yourself. Okay, you should stretch the amount your mind, your brain, your body can take it, and then a consecutive review has to be done. Because okay, you might have planned for a goal which you think you will be achieving, right? After a day span, like first day you have decided that this is what I say. By the end of the day, you have to review yourself. You have to check whether I have been able to meet that particular thing that I had planned for myself today. And you should be studying. If as a student, you should be studying at the same time. If you are sitting at 5 in the evening to study every day, and on weekends you sit in the morning, so you should study. It's not like that today you are sitting at 5, tomorrow you're sitting at 8 o'clock. That schedule, that because every body has a body clock. So that's why we say even you need to sleep properly. So we all have a body clock. The moment our body clock shifts, the mind also changes. So that is always required. Whenever you are sitting and studying, the mind starts focusing. It knows it's study time, retention increases, and it is able to help things. And you have to divide your time into small chunks, as I had shown that 24 hours a day. So what I have done is not like one activity that I have was planning. It was different activity. I was prioritizing it as per the requirement of the priority, and I was making small chunks to do a particular activity, to manage my activities. And you need to leave extra time. You should have buffer time. It should not be like if you have 8 hours in a hand, the entire 8 hours you occupy. No, it's not like that. At least leave 1.5 hours for yourself, because what happens when you are breaking certain things into small chunks, what's actually happening is sometimes, for example, if I'm taking a maths exercise which I am planning to do, so when I'm doing that maths exercise, what's going to happen, it may take 10-15 minutes extra. So I may be midway of one of the questions. I cannot just leave that question and walk ahead because I have planned for the second activity. So this buffer time is actually for you to finish off your activities, plus review your activities before you go for before you are ending up your day for the day, right? So that is how it starts working. Then it is like, you how do you do it? You actually make a do list. Okay, so basically what you do is, today it is a do. I write down these are the work I have to do. This is how I have prioritized it. Okay, Then you make it like, okay, it's a major data. For example, I have to do a project, a science project. In a day I won't be able to do it, so what I do is I break up into small chunks. I will do this much part of the project today, this much part of the project tomorrow, this much the next day, before I reach my deadline. So in this, what happens, when you're making a manageable chunks, when you're breaking up your activity, you are not only spending major time onto one activity, but you are able to handle your schedule very comfortably. So your daily cycle is being taken care. So, as we had already spoken about that prioritization grid, which I spoke for by Stephen Conroy. The same grid again, I am discussing about prioritization grid. Like, how are you going to prioritize? As I said, of the science project is going to be something which I am going to stretch it for a long time. It's I have a deadline. I have a deadline of a week. So that doesn't mean that in one day I'll finish off the entire project, but I will be dividing it into the entire 7 days, because by Saturday I should finish so that I can submit my project on Monday. So anything else is left towards the end. On Sunday, I wind it up and I'm ready. So here, what happens? I'm stress free. I don't have an anxiety going on. I'm not troubling my family members here, and everything. Everybody is happy. You are also happy, and so this particular prioritization goal is that now, as your presentation, you have chunked it out. So you say it is urgent, it is important. So you say, okay, today I have to do something on the project because by end of the week I have to submit it, right? Then there's some paperwork, some submission, some maths homework which you have to submit. So that also you will finish it off. It's not urgent that I can take a day or two, but then still I have time, I'll finish it off. Then the third comes is, okay, maybe some mails have come, you are some emails have come from the school regarding certain data. So then you will put that it is urgent, it is important to go through those mails because those mails may have some work for you. So you will say it is urgent, but it is not important to what I am doing right now, right? And towards the end, I say, okay, now I would like to watch some TV, but then, okay, the entire day as I have scheduled because was busy. For example, if I take myself, sometimes I have my presentations, right? So watching TV is a last priority in my life, right? Because I have a presentation. So if I have done my presentations ready, I relax. Otherwise, I will be sitting with my presentation. TV I will watch when I want to relax. So that will not come into my prioritization at that time. So that is how it works.
I really like the concept of prioritization grid because it's ultimately streamlining my work and is giving me my leisure time as well. So I can see how the child can rejuvenate and basically he's been giving the time to his whole personal self as well. Because all the more it's not just about academics or been maintaining your extracurricular, it is for your personal space as well, which is very
True,
important in terms of each one of us. Because what
true,
exactly happens is we somewhere lose down a personal time as we grow on to the our ages. We are going towards our professional side. We somewhere just stream down the kind of a personal time that I give to myself, and that is very important for us to refreshen ourselves. And that is
true.
really important. And when I make a prioritization grid, I think that is important for me to channelize and streamline my work, what is been actually giving me my personal space as well. What do you think about it?
True, Divya. See, even today, I do as a prioritization. I use this prioritization grid in my entire life. Simple things. I'm having a, session today. So yesterday, like after my work and towards the end, I didn't have time to watch TV because I couldn't. There were certain things that I had to change. So I said, okay, fine. TV can happen tomorrow. Yeah, after I finish off with my session, I cannot watch. I
Correct.
cannot afford to it. So for me, yesterday night, this was more important. So I was working on this certain, the last minute touch ups that I wanted. So I was doing that. So that thing went towards, it was not urgent for me, it was not important for me. So I was like, cool, my mind was not stressed, I didn't have any anxiety. After finishing my work, had a nice sleep, and I'm ready for the session today. So this is something that
Very
we
nice.
all use it in our life.
Correct. And I think, ma'am, this we can actually frame it in our mind itself. We don't have to be making it on a paper or streamlining it. Something that is actually reflective is a visual interpretation in our mind itself is going to streamline my life for further. And this is
True.
something you don't have to do. paper. Just keep it in your mind, and you will automatically able to just put it in the respective boxes, that which is important, unimportant for me, it's a priority, it's a urgent work, or it's not an urgent work for me. So I am
Yeah.
really in love with this prioritization grid. I'm definitely going to be following it, and I hope it must have streamlined your life much better, ma'am.
It has definitely streamlined my life much better. And the thing is, like, I actually use this, I have used it with my children, have taught them also. And even with wherever I'm doing projects, wherever I'm giving instructions, guidance to students, I'm giving them also this. And it's actually working wonders. And it is not that, even as we go further, we will know, like when you are making a to-do list, it's on the basis of this prioritization grid that you will be
Correct.
doing it. Yeah.
Correct. So, ma'am, as we have been prioritizing is, I know I have found out the issues with my time management, the first step. The second step is I have prioritized my task. Now, with the third, when I'm moving further, I know there are certain tasks that have been, they have been actually going to be taking me a lot of time. And certain one of them that are actually not going to be actually occupying much of my time. How do I break down the task? How do I move from a heavier one to a smaller one? How do I move from the work that has been more important for me, or which is not important for me? How do I narrow it down? So can you please highlight on that one as well?
Sure, Divya, because we keep on guiding like this. What happens is, let's take a very realistic example, because everybody is on a holiday right now. Summer holidays are there. But summer holidays doesn't mean holiday for students because it's actually a lot of holiday homework given by the teachers also. Right?
Correct.
So the school gives you so much holiday homework. So, and parents think, oh God, the entire holiday homework is there. How are we going to go out? Now, here is when we talk about time management. Now, in the month of June, so many weeks are there. So you have planned some kind of holiday, maybe beginning of the month or maybe towards the end of the month. So generally what people try to do is, like, they try to do is towards the end of the month, so that they are relaxed, no stress, nothing, so that things are finished and they can enjoy. So in a month, you have 4 weeks. So what you do is, whatever chunk of data you have, whatever work you have, what you do is you put it into weeks. You say, okay, for this particular week, I will finish this much, maybe a maths and a science, or I will finish my chemistry or physics or maybe English or history, accordingly, according to your likings. So you will chunk it out in such a way that in these weeks, for example, in the month of week, 1 week I'm going out. There was the last end days. So before that, I have 3 weeks in hand. Within those 3 weeks, I want to finish it. So you will plan your program according to the weeks. Then you will chunk it down. Again, you will narrow it down where? You will narrow it down to your two to do list. So now in that particular daily list, now you know this is the work. So what you are achieving towards, with daily work, daily small work, you are achieving your goal of finishing your holiday homework. Okay, so that is when we say, when you have a major data, what happens when it is a huge work, you get stressed, you get an anxiety. I've seen small children saying, ki, I'm stressed because of my homework, I'm stressed because of education. This is no
Correct.
age to get stressed. This is the age of, it's only that you have to just manage. You have ample of time. Students have ample of time, we have ample of time. All we have to learn is how to chunk it down, how to narrow it down, how to do it. All is discipline. So we discipline
Correct.
ourselves a little, we will achieve our goal. So this is how we should be doing that, from a bigger chunk to a smaller. We need to narrow down our work, and then we are able to achieve what we want.
Ma'am, as you talk about discipline here, I would like to quote something. Even after I know this areas parameters, I found out that I need to be focusing my time, and I'm not able to manage my time accordingly. And even after I've been basically actually even after the self analysis, I'm prioritizing my task as well. But still, there is a kind of a thing, especially among children or possibly even adults, that we are still not willing to do things. We are quite lazy for things, and I know I need to be streamlining my work, I need to narrow it down, I need to make it simplified. Still there is a kind of a way that I'm very eased today, I don't want to be doing it, we'll do it tomorrow. That kind of a feeling that kal kar lenge. So when
Yes.
it comes that I'm been able to do it tomorrow, I'll be able to do it after some time, there's a kind of a feeling that just keeps on holding behind. So when
Yeah.
that feeling of procrastination has been there, how do you overcome that? Because even after knowing everything, how to streamline, how to manage, and how to strategize the task, I still have that feeling that I'll be able to do it later. So how do you deal with that?
Yes. What happens is, basically procrastination is thief of time. So we all do it, many of us do it, and there is a certain reason behind. There is science behind it. Okay, I'll come to that reason later on. First of all, like, let me just explain with a small example what is actually procrastination. So it's basically you're trying to put off a task which you know you have to, but you don't want to do it. You know, you will be saying, okay, I'll do it later, as you have already given a small example to us. So it's basically, for example, you have some homework and it's not done. So instead of that, you say, okay, I'll do it after some time. You'll go, you will that's the example that I would maybe check onto a phone, or maybe watch TV. You'll say, okay, after 5 minutes I'll do, after 10 minutes. Oh, let me lie down for some time. Some after some time. So finally, towards the end of the day, you land up not doing that particular work. Okay, so there are certain reasons why it happens. Basically, what you don't want to do it because you're trying to run away from it. You don't want to do it because you feel that's not very important, but it is important if you want to work ahead. It may be important. You maybe you're not sure, you're scared, you feel that will I be able to do it or not. So these are the few things that actually happens for you to procrastinate. You are not sure whether what you are doing is right or not. You are not getting a proper guidance, or you may be a perfectionist. You want to do it perfectly right. So what you do is, okay, till that perfection doesn't come, you say, okay, I will for example, it's something like I have to make a small drawing, and I say, okay, I require a canva paper only. I require a handmade paper only. So you actually, it can be done on a plain A4 size sheet, and you can submit it. But then you are trying to, because being a professional, you want to do it and you want to present it in such a way. So it can be before, because of your perfection or your fear towards a something. That is the reason why a human always procrastinate a certain thing, right? So that is how it happens.
So, ma'am, as we already know that procrastination is our thief of time and is holding us back, and even after strategizing and streamlining a lot of things, it's still the kind of a laziness that I have that I will do it later. So, can you tell us how we can overcome this? Is there a way that possibly we can streamline this as well? Because it's
There's
very
a
important to manage time with the help of procrastination. At least we need to manage this thing at the priority and the utmost thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Divya. So for this, we have a small, again, a quiz or a test, because the moment I say test, students say, oh, test again. No, it's not. It's just a simple fun thing. You have a self test. So there are 12 questions in the self test. Okay, these are the 12 questions that we have. And how does it go? It says, if you are saying never, okay, for a particular question as an answer, so it's going to be 1 mark. If it's occasional, it's going to be 2 marks. If you're saying often, it is going to be 3 marks. And if you're saying always, it's going to be 4 marks. Now, what you have to do is you need to add the score of the question number 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, and 12. And then you have to mark the scoring of 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10. So that means you have two scores, that is score A and score B. Now, if the score A exceeds score B, that means you are managing your time well, you're not procrastinating. Okay. But if your score comes less, your score A comes lesser to score B, that means you are procrastinating. That is means it's not actually, you need to change it with time. You cannot make it as a habit, right? So you have to improve. So you slowly understand, this is the problem that I have, and how can I, am I doing a perfectionism there, or I am trying to I'm not getting a proper guidance, or am I scared of something? So you start analyzing yourself and then build up on that, and you're able to work on it.
Ma'am, could you please share the list again, once again, for the students so at least they can note down the pointers or they can take a screenshot as per the convenience? Yeah. So, students, we have these 12 questions which will help you identify your the level of procrastination among you. And what you can do is you can take a note of it, and you can test yourself, you can grade yourself according to this, and possibly you can actually overcome the problem of procrastination. Once you're going to self test with reference to your procrastination, you will be able to identify the ways in which you can overcome it. And of course, yes, what are the key areas which has been holding you back, which has been actually making you much lazier. So these are some, there are certainly, this is a very small test, it's not a test, you can possibly just say it's just a way of analyzing yourself. So just 12 questions for you to deal with it, you can note it down. And the parameters also, how you're supposed to grade yourself from question number 1 to 12. which is the way of scoring, and how does this score help you identify? So ma'am, if a school student is basically been getting up a score, how do they judge themselves? Like, what is the way in which I am judging myself, that if I'm getting a higher score or I'm getting a low score in terms of procrastination?
See, that's what I'm saying. Judging in the sense, if your score A, the category of questions in score, first of all, what you have to do is there are certain category of questions in score A, which is there on the slide if you can see. Okay. So as I said, it's 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, and 12. Now, these particular questions scoring, whatever it is there, you will add it up. So say you get a rough score of say 10. Okay. And on your score B, you have 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10. And you get a score of 6 there. Fine. So now my score A is 10 and my score B is 6. So what is this? I am not procrastinating. I'm managing my time. Okay. But if it is other way around, my score on B is 10 and score on A is 6, that means I am procrastinating. So why am I procrastinating? I'm going to analyze myself. Yes, I am procrastinating because maybe I don't like a subject. For example, there are many
Correct.
students who don't like maths. They don't like maths.
Hmm.
Is why? Because their concepts are not clear. It's not that they are weak in maths, because the basic concepts were not clear. So they have been building up a fear in them. So it's not, none of us are bad in anything. That's the key thing that every
Correct.
child, every person has to understand. That is where you increase
Right.
your self esteem and confidence. Yeah.
True, very true, ma'am. I really agree on this one. So, ma'am, would as the children most of the time feel really procrastinated in terms of the study sessions. So, could you share some tips in which way they can basically overcome this the problem when they have been feeling really lazy? As you said, that they might not have an interest for a particular subject. I know I found out that, but I need to still work on it. I need to still find out a way. So, can you
Yeah.
please highlight some of the ways in which the students can strategize this thing as well, please?
Yeah, sure. So what you have to do is, see, you we all know, as we are going into the school, it's like the school timetable itself is like 45 minutes periods. That's because the focus of a child is not more than that. Or by the college, it's like 1 hour. So we generally, the concentration level doesn't increase after 1 hour. For people, for humans, that is how it is. So I would give the tip stating that if you are studying maybe any subject, like till class 10th, you have to study all the subjects. So you don't have a choice. So what you have to do is, even the subjects which you don't like, there are certain subjects like maths or history or something which students generally don't like. So what you have to do is you have to study. So what, give 45 minutes to 60 minutes to study that particular subject. Get up from your seat once you have attained the learning of subject as per your time management, that you have spent it and you have learned it, and give a 10 to 15 minutes break. Very important. Once you give that 10 to
Correct.
15 minutes, whatever you've studied is getting retained. Whatever, because whatever you've read, whatever you've studied is
Mm.
actually going to your short term memory. Okay. It goes to your long term memory only when you start revising it. Okay. So in your short term memory, you have learned, you have studied. So next time when you're revising it, it is going in the long time. That's how you retain it for a longer duration. So right now, what I'm talking is study for 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. Take a break. Okay. And if you have achieved, for example, you have achieved the finishing of that particular subject. Maybe you have 2 chapters and within next 2 days, you have achieved that subject. Reward yourself. You have to motivate yourself. And how you reward, that's up to you. Maybe you want to watch, play a game maybe for 10, 15 minutes, or you want to reward yourself by spending half a day on a gaming which is your interest towards the end of the day. Perfect. Even to parents, I would say, let that reward go, because the child has
Correct.
achieved something. Let that reward go. You should not say ki acha abhi game shuru kar diya fir se, because
Hmm.
don't nag. Nagging is again bad. Understand the child. If the child is performing, if the child is doing, and child gets motivated, yes, because I am doing it, I am being rewarded, right? Then you should not switch. You should switch off the subject. Like for example, if I'm studying for 1 hour maths, then next 10 minutes break, I should pick up some other subject. In this, what happens, the brain gets fresh, the brain gets activated towards a different subject, and the brain activates in such a way, the brain functions in such a way that it is able to retain faster, because it is not becoming monotonous to the brain. So that is what you have to look into.
Right, ma'am. I think this is a very important tip that you shared here. The first and the foremost thing, a 10 to 15-minute break, because automatically for a longer period of time, as students study for 2 to 3 hours at a stretch, or 4 to 5 hours, they're studying late nights. I think that break is very important for them to be actually getting the refreshing period. Plus, on the top of it, I need to strategize, and a way I need to be basically, especially the subjects that I'm not good at, or possibly
Yeah.
I'm not able to score well at. So
Yes.
that I need to be managing my and setting certain goals for that specifically.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a very important point for the parents here, that you need to give that space to the children. Of course, they are treating themselves with another 10-minute or 15-minute of break, and that they deserve. So they should be really be rewarded with, and they should be getting that opportunity where they are being able to speak for themselves. They are able to dedicate some time for themselves. Right, ma'am. I think there was a technical lag. Are we back again? Okay, so as we have been proceeding, I have a question here. The child, one of the children, one of the child has asked here. So if they can actually see the question again, so we'll refer to the slide once again for them to be referring to the procrastination test. So here are the questions, the 12 questions that you can refer to. You can keep a note of it, and then we can further proceed on to the grid as well, and then we can further proceed on to the slides. So Ritvik, I hope this has solved your issue, the problem, the question that you've raised here. So these are the parameter skills and the questions that you can refer to. Right, ma'am, are we good to go? Right,
Yes.
ma'am. Sure. So let's proceed further. So as we were talking about the in a way that students are able to manage the time specifically, I think it's a very important tip for the students to be knowing about how they're supposed to be managing their time. And when they're studying specifically, they need to be managing the time at that particular time, because that is the problem where students basically lag in. They feel that they were not able to study the subject, but it is not just the subject, it's the way of
Right.
doing it. So possibly
Exactly.
time management according to the particular subject, the breaks, and especially the parents need to give that buffer time to the students where they are able to treat themselves, which is a very
Very
important
true.
key that we take forward today. Very important to note about this regarding our study sessions. As we move ahead, ma'am, so can you understand that possibly the children are been actually having a lot of pressure, and even after streamlining so many things and identifying themselves, how what are the problems and the issues that they're facing, we still need to see that they are in an era of technology, and every possible time you will be finding up a child been holding up a cell phone, or they're on the internet on the laptop, and they've been just scrolling by. Correct. So in that era when the children are completely under the bandage of being held back by the technology, can you suggest us a way in which we have smartphones but we need to be actually making our students smart? So how do I go about making a child being smarter in terms of it?
See, yes, you have smartphones. I will be talking about those applications. But before that, how to become smarter is like, SMART is an acronym for creating smart goals. Okay. So that is S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A for attainable, R for relevant, and T for time bound. So I would like to share a small video which gives you a more insight. And even after that, if you have questions, you can put across to me, because that is how the SMART goal works.
Answer your 6W questions: who, what, where. The SMART goal acronym stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Here's a breakdown of each letter. S. Specific. Specific goals answer your 6 W questions: who, what, where, when, which, and why. When you can identify each element, you'll know which tools and actions are required to reach a goal. Who? Who is involved? What? What do you want to accomplish? Where? Where will you complete the goal? When? When do you want to do it? Which? Which requirements and constraints might get in your way? Why? Why are you doing it? Specificity is important because when you reach these milestones, you'll know for certain you have achieved your goal. M. Measurable. Measurable goals are defined with precise times, amounts, or other units, essentially anything that measures progress toward a goal. Creating measurable goals determine if you have progressed from point A to point B. Measurable goals also help you figure out when you're headed in the right direction and when you're not. Generally speaking, a measurable goal statement answers questions starting with how, such as how much, how many, and how fast. A. Attainable. Attainable goals stretch the limits of what you think is possible. While they're not impossible to complete, they're often challenging and full of obstacles. The key to creating an attainable goal is to look at your current life and set an objective that seems slightly beyond your reach. That way, even if you fail, you still accomplish something of significance. R. Relevant. Relevant goals focus on what you truly desire. They are the exact opposite of inconsistent or scattered goals. They are in harmony with everything that is important in your life, from success in your career to happiness with the people you love. T. Time-bound. Time-bound goals have specific deadlines. You are expected to achieve your desired outcome before a target date. Time-bound goals are challenging and grounding. The key to creating a time-bound goal is to set a deadline you'll meet by working backward and developing habits. Smart goals are clear and well-defined. There is no doubt about the result you want to achieve. At its deadline, you'll know if you have or haven't achieved a particular goal.
Right. So I think, ma'am, it's very important for us to set up a smart goal, because ultimately that helps me to analyze that what are the ways in which is actually going to make my life easier. I understanding what are the levels of procrastination, understanding the levels of time management that I'm respectively having. So, in an era of technology, ma'am, where we need to become smart just like our cell phones, can you also tell the children or some of the applications they can certainly download in their cell phones, or possibly in their laptops, which is actually going to make their life much simpler, simplified in terms of managing time?
Yeah, sure. We actually have certain handful of there are many, but the ones that I have gone through is like to do list. It's a tick tick. Then you have a Google Calendar and a Smart Sheet. So generally, I more use a to do list and a Google Calendar, and I find it really comfortable. On my mobile, I always have my to do list wherein I have put it's like an assistant for me. It keeps on, like
Correct.
like your mom is not around and somebody is coming and telling you, this is your work, you have to do this. So it's like a PA to you, who is actually helping you out to do your activity. So you have actually timeline, okay, from this time to this time I have this particular activity, from this time to this time. So it gives you a notification, and it keeps on telling you, even if you have it. And moreover, like alarms, it has a option of snoozing also. You can snooze, okay, I'm busy, snooze, and after again 5 minutes or 10 minutes, how
Yes.
you have set it up, it comes again, pops up onto your phone, and it tells you, okay, you have this activity. It's keeping your watch on you. It is like excellent. I am in love with
Correct.
this particular app.
Correct, ma'am. I think it's very important for us to remember the things also, because we have so many dimensions and so many things to manage on. But there has to be a way to streamline it, and the to-do list is doing a wonderful job in terms of that. So everyone should be making up, and yes, of course, to streamline and narrow down the work as well, from a larger task to a smaller one. We need to manage it. We need to streamline it, and for that, we need to mention it, which is very important to note. Right. So, ma'am, I think we had a wonderful session today discussing about the time management, procrastination, self-testing, the ABC C's grid that we have been actually having, the prioritization grid that we have been having. So beautiful techniques and ways we have actually focused on the time management today. So, what is the last takeaway that you want to give it to the students before we end with the session today?
The simple takeaway, whether it's school, work, or your life, it can be balanced only if you're managing time. You will have time for everything. Even after a certain age, you want to study also, you will have time. Even today, when you're doing your studies, fun is not gone away. You have time. All you have to do is start your managing time from today on itself, and you will definitely reach success. That's a guarantee from my side.
Correct. A very important thing to mention and note when we're managing with regard to time. Ma'am, as we are very near to the closing of the session, there are certain questions that have been raised by the students, and they really want you to answer this. So I'm just raising those questions to you so you can actually highlight about it in a similar way. So as we're talking about time management, we have a question. So how do I effectively use technology to enhance my time management as a student?
See, for technology, as I have already told you, that this particular thing is there, all these apps are there. So you don't have to, it's not that with those apps you are very dependent onto those apps or you overwhelmed with those apps, because you have to make a balance also. Because technology doesn't mean that you are misusing that technology. You have to use it for your time management and walk further for setting your goals.
Correct. And ma'am, what about the goals that I'm able to set? The another question that comes up is how do I set realistic goals and deadlines for myself to avoid any feeling of being overwhelmed?
See, realistic goals are those goals, as I said, which you can attain. You should not make it a goal which is going to, which you will not be able to handle. That's exactly what I said. As a child, if I am able to take, if I am a 10-year-old child, and I will be able to take at least a 5 kg bag, right? But if I am being given a 10 kg bag, I will again hunch my bag. I'm unable to do it, right? So in that case, what we have to do is we have to program ourselves in such a way, we have to plan our goal in such a way which I will be able to achieve. It should be attainable, it has to be realistic, it should not be overwhelming to you. So that is how you have to plan your goals and then manage your time accordingly.
Correct. Very nicely said, ma'am. One last question for the day, ma'am. How to overcome procrastination? I think that's the question going to retain forever. How do we overcome that?
See, how to overcome is simple, that first make up your mind that you have to do it. Okay, you cannot escape one thing. For example, I remember students saying, ma'am, history, I don't like history. But then you have to understand, till 10th you have to learn SST, you don't have a choice. So you have to make up your mind. Then you make a to do list. Then you know chunk it down. You have a major chapter, because history SST is something, children, SST and maths is what I've seen children scaring and fearing with. So then
Correct.
what you have to do is that particular subject, there's no escapism. So you make up your mind, you make a to do list. Okay, from this day, today I will do these things in that particular subject. Okay, then you are having, you because this is a major chunk of subject, major data is there, and you divide those data into doers. And please tell your, maybe your parents, your sister, to remind you that okay, you are on a journey to
Correct.
overcome your procrastination. So you have to do this work every day. So that kind of reminding, people helping out, reminding you, will help you to go out from this procrastination nature of yours.
Correct. Ma'am, I think it's very important to note, and everybody in the family needs to know that we are a team and we need to work together. It's not just
Yes.
for the child's work to basically streamline and find out the ways in which they have been procrastinating or the time management that the problems that they're facing. It's actually a team. Parents need to work together with the children and let them find out the problems and the ways to help them deal with the situation. So,
Right.
ma'am, as we are at the end of the session, that has been a beautiful way in which you have actually portrayed how time management needs to be managed. It's a beautiful session today that actually I'm receiving a number of ways in which students have actually raised up the questions with reference to technology, with reference to how managing time is basically quite an overwhelming thing for them. And yes, of course, the parents need to be managing. So as we are through with the session, I would like to really thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. On behalf of the Educational Connect, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all the students, all the teachers, all the parents who have been attending the webinar today. Time Management Hack for Teenagers. It's ultimately your presence that has made it a huge success, and it's really important for you to be coming up more with the feedback, as we have a number of ways in which possibly we can deal with the situation. We are also supposed to be looking forward to a number of ways in which we can actually simplify our work. So much before we are ending, I would like to especially thank ma'am for joining us for today, sharing this invaluable insights with us. The knowledge that you've shared today, it's very important for the students to acknowledge, note, and it's ultimately a motivating factor for them because they are inspired now. They know what exactly is the problem. Once you find the problem, the solution follows. So really grateful to you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be there on your show and giving my insight to students to help for their future.
It's really important, ma'am. And the children need to be guided. They need to be knowing what exactly is the way in which they can actually make their lives much better. So you all can share your suggestions in the chat box for any further topics that you would like to suggest us for the next session. And I really once again thank you all for joining us for today's session. So till the time, see you till the next exciting session comes over. Thank you all and keep supporting us. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gayatri ma'am, for joining today. We shall close
Thank
today.
you, Divya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.